Okay, Baruch Hashem, today is Shir number 60 since we started Hilchot Shabbat. So we're 60 Shirim in, and we're in middle of the Malacha of Milabein. We're going to be starting on page 102. Page 102, volume 21 of the Tzurba Rabbanon, Lax Family Edition, the Mervis Family Volume, and we're talking about the Malacha of Milabein. We already mentioned that Milabein, what does it mean, the word Milabein? Right, laundry, but what is the actual shirish of, Baruchim Haboim, Baruch Hashem Yibichaim. I knew you were in Eretz Yisrael, but we missed you dearly. Pleasure to have you back with us. Baruch Hashem. So we're in the middle of the Malacha of Milabein. So we did somewhat of a chazara last time, but this time we'll talk briefly some of the topics we need to know for this part of Milabein. And then if we have time at the end of the year, we'll do a chazara on in the entire subject. Okay, so Milabein, what's the shorish of the word Milabein? Which means?
To make it white.
Make it white. Beautiful. So that's exactly the malacha. We saw that when they had semer of the sheep, they have the wool of the sheep, they would cut it off, and then they would whiten it before they use it for the curtains and other stuff like that. We know that there are three parts of the regular laundry process. And it's been 3 stages since day number 1 on earth when they started cleaning clothes. 3 stages. Stage number 1 is soaking it, getting the clothes wet. Stage number 2 is agitating it. It's just shaking it, doing something to shave, kibus. These are agitation. That's the second part. That's what your washing machine, when you hear that noise, that's it agitating the clothes. And then the last part is the spin cycle of the washing machine, which is right. It's when you do the wringing out or the squeezing of the water from the clothes. Today, our topic is it possible to have laundry or halachic laundry, the malacha of Milabein, without a liquid? Can something be considered Milabein if I'm not using water on it? So Chaim says yes. So let's take a look at the source we have here. The first source on this page 102, source 62. We have here Gemara Mesechet Shabbat.
What Rabbi Chaim said.
He said yes. So let's see. We're taking a look in source 62. Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna said, Hamna'ir talito b'Shabbat. Someone who shakes out his cloak on Shabbat. The guy has a coat. The guy has some sort of baggage, and he's mena'ir talito b'Shabbat.
The geshem.
Hayav hatat. He is hayav hatat. Why? He just shook it off. What is he shaking off? So Biavnir says it's mine. Perhaps. You're right. But perhaps. Right now we don't know. The Gemara just said the guy shook off his cloak. We don't know what that means. Hayav hatat. So the Gemara first of all comes, and the Gemara says, okay, I got to qualify for you when this is. Okay? V'lo amraran ela behateh. We only said this regarding new garments. Okay? Only if it's a new clothing. What's considered new clothing? Some Mefarshim want to say new clothing means mamish new. It's the first time I'm wearing it. From the Rambam, it's mashma, new meaning it still appears new. It still looks new. It's new-ish, right? That will be considered new, but only if it's new. Aval ba'atike, but with old ones, it's not a problem to shake off your cloak. Late lane ba, there's no problem. V'lo amaran ela be'ukame. They said it's only regarding black garments. Okay? New and black. We're going to see. New and black. Very good. Aval bechivare vesumake, but with white and red garments, let lamba. There's no problem. You can shake it off. Whatever you're shaking off over there. Vehu, and it also has to be the kafid alayhu, that it's something he's particular about. So far, amen. So far, the Gemara said on three things. Three or how many things it said? Number one, it has to be new, has to be black, and it has to be that I'm worried about it. If I don't care about it, then I can shake it off. Okay? We still don't know what we're talking about, shaking off what.
No, you are a stinist, so you don't want anything to be on your gum. Makpid.
Is makpid.
If you don't care, and you did it,
Then not a problem. Right.
יש שלומפרים, you know? Some people, the שלומפר.
They're slump, yeah. They don't care. So then they can shake it off. All right. Let's take a look at this story. Ula ikela le pumpadita. He came to Pumpadita. Hazar banan. They were shaking off their coats on Shabbat. The Talmidei Chachamim Amar kam halelin Rabbanan Shabbata. The rabbis here are being Mahalil Shabbat. They're shaking off, right? They're shaking off. Amar lehu Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda said to the Talmidei Chachamim, what did they say? Nefutzele be'apeh. Anan lo kaftinan midi. We are not makbid about our clothing. Meaning, since we don't care, our clothing is a little bit dirty, it's not a little bit dirty. So for us, shaking it off is not a problem. Okay, so to just review this Gemara. The Gemara said that if you shake off your cloak on Shabbat, hayav hatat, which we're assuming he's shaking it off from dirt or shaking it off from something, and he's doing milabein, he is cleaning it without whatever it is right now, and he's chayav chatat. Well, it depends, they said. It's only if it's a new garment, only if it's a black garment, and only if it's something you're makbid of. Okay. Now, Lamaisa, we have to understand what is it that he's shaking off. So there's a mahloket, three-way mahloket by the Rishonim of what he is shaking off from this cloak that happens to be the problem. So the first one you have is in source 63, you have Rashi. Rashi says, he shakes his cloak. What is he shaking off? What? Min afar, from dust. Okay? He's shaking it off from dust. Wait, he's shaking it off from dust. That means there's no liquid here involved. That means you're saying, Rashi, that there's milabein, there's laundry without liquid, according to Rashi. Now, what does he say? Hayav hatad, tezehu libuna, because this is its milabein. This is its libun. This is its laundry by shaking it off. Tosafot is not happy with this pshat.
What you're doing, you are separating the afar from the gum. You're separating. Yeah, you're separating. You are not cleaning anything. Afar is not a glue. It's not a glue. It just rests on it, and you do like this, and it goes out.
Good. You're saying very good. And perhaps there's a difference of dust that's at the top of the surface of the coat versus dust or dirt that's a little bit embedded into the coat or into the clothing. Right? Sometimes you can have like a feather on top over here. Take it off. Sometimes it's a little bit inside. It's stuck. Is that a chilik, according to what you're saying? You want to have a chilik between those two? Perhaps. But regardless, right now, Rashi said it's dust. Tosafot is not going to like this. Tosafot, Min hatal she'alav. No. It's not dust that's on the coat. There's dew there. There's water on it. The hainu kibus belibun hayam hatat. But if he is just shaking off the dust, kitefesh bekuntris, as explained in Rashi, there is no milabein, says Tosfot. Tosfot says there is no milabein without water. So you can't tell me the case is about shaking off dust. The case of the Gemara must be about water. There is dew on it. There's rain on it. There's whatever it is. Then you can't shake it off, because shaking it off will be milabin. Will be laundry.
Even dew on it. Milabin, it means you are clean.
You're right.
What are you doing over here? Try to put some water on something and just shut it off. You're gonna clean.
So we saw already 2 weeks ago. We saw that by laundry on Shabbat, just making something wet is already considered laundry. So here we're saying the dew fell in it, laundry, rain fell in it. Yeah, you didn't put it there, but the fact that you're shaking it off, now you're doing the laundry part. No, that's what the Gemara is saying. This is the case. Now, interestingly enough, we said Tosefot said Rabbeinu Hananel said min hatal she'alav. However, if you look at the Rabbeinu Hananel that we have, Rabbeinu Hananel doesn't say min hatal. Rabbeinu Hananel says Amr b'huna min hatal yitob shabbat hayim hatal perish min ha'el k'dichtiv hitna'arim afar, right? Where it says to take up from the dust. So he's saying it's actual dirt. So the Rebbeinu Chananel seems to say, the actual Rebbeinu Chananel that we have says that they're taking off something filthy, davar tinuf, something filthy from it. We're gonna, for the time being, we're going to ignore this Rebbeinu Chananel. I just wanted you to see this for the moment, to see it's a three-way machloket. Right now, we're going to deal with Rashi and Tosfot. Rashi says this case is about dust, shaking off dust. Tosfot says it cannot be about dust because you need to have water involved. Now, the continuation of the Gemara, book in source 66. The next piece of the Gemara, it's right after. This is what we saw in source 62. Right next, it says as follows. Abaye, Hava kamed Rav Yosef. Abaye was standing in front of Rav Yosef. Amar Rav Yosef said to Abaya, Havali kumtai. Give me my cap. Give me my cap. Hazad yikatala ale. So Abaya saw that on Rav Yosef's cap, there was some dew on it. There was some liquid on it. So Hava kom hasem lemitvale. He was reluctant to give it to him. He didn't want to give it to him because he didn't know, can I shake it off?
And this is Rebbe.
Right, and he's like, it's not respectful to give my Rebbe a cap that has dew on it, but I don't know if I can throw off the dew either. So what should I do? He's like giving back and forth. So Amalek, Rav Yosef said to him, Tabaya, nefut shede anan lo kaptinan midi. He said, shake it out. I'm not makbid about my dew or my hat, this and that. You can shake it off, no problem.
So what is the halakha? If somebody no makbid, then he can do whatever he wants?
He can shake it off, yeah. And you're makbid, then you can shake it off. So now, the Tzurba here in the bottom of a beige box on page 103, he wants to say, perhaps that's why Rashi and Tosfot are learning the way they are. He says Rashi understands this story is about water, tal, right? So the beginning of the Gemara that says just to shake it off must be talking about something else because the Gemara here already is mentioning water. That means the case earlier is not about water, it's shaking off something else. But Tosfot says, no, I don't know what the Gemara earlier is talking about. The fact that this part of the Gemara says water means to tell me the earlier part of the Gemara is talking about that there was water and that's what he was shaking it off. So the Tzurba wants to say over here that perhaps Rashi and Tosfot are both trying to understand how to play back this story. Is this story telling me what the story was earlier? Or is this story telling me, oh, this is different than what was earlier? Regardless, right now we have a machloket rishonim. Are we shaking off dust and that's the problem? Or are we shaking off water and that's the problem and not dust? So as we turn to page 104 in our Tzurba, we have the Shulchan Aruch.
When he says Ana lo makpid, what it means? Ani lo makpid, it means I don't care if it's dirty. If you don't care if it's dirty, why you are shaking it?
So halacha, it means as follows. And halacha, the way they understand in halacha is that I'm not makbid during the weekdays to shake it off. Even if I'm makbid now on Shabbat, I'm still allowed to shake it off. If during the week I'm not makbid. So I'm only not allowed to shake it off if I'm always makbid about this, that I never want to shake it off.
So
I never would wear it like this. If during the week I would wear it as is, if during the week I would wear it as is, I can still shake it off on Shabbat. That's the halakha.
So if
during the whole week I won't shake it off, I won't wear it with it that way, then I cannot shake it off on Shabbat either. Okay, so it's that's what it means by makbid. Okay, so now Shulchan Aruch says it could be. Why not? It's dirt. It's dirt, any dirt. The afar is not necessarily just afar. It means any dirt on it. Anything that you don't want there. Yeah. Okay.
We didn't went to the actually.
Not yet. Now we're going to look. Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch, Rabotai.
We didn't say the halacha.
Yeah, we didn't come to Halacha yet. Let's take a look now. Source 67. Rabotai, source 67. Page 104. Hamana'era talit hadasha. Oh, you see? If he shakes out a new garment, shehura, it's black. Min hatal. From the dew. From liquid, says the Shulchan Aruch. Shaleya hayav. Shani'ur yafela kemo kibush. Because when you're shaking it off from its liquid, it's as if you are shaking it out and doing laundry. Vehu shemakbid ale. And that's when he's makbid about it. Shalolil v'shah beloni ur. That he would not wear it without shaking it off. So if he's always shaking it off because he's makbid about it, shouldn't be there, then he can't shake it off. And if he shakes it off, he's chayim hatat.
Wow.
This is talking about dew.
I do. I take my talit always like this. But because of the fold,
Nah.
no. Each time that I take my talit, I mean,
That's not a problem.
not because of the dust, because of.
Well, we're not just, it's not, doesn't just mean talit that you're wearing talit. Any cloak, any clothing, any begging, me'il and stuff like that. It's talking about when it has dew on it, it has liquid on it, rain, something like this. Then you're not allowed to shake it off. Anytime else, you can shake up anything you want. Now, Ramad comes and says, right? Here he goes. Anything that's soaked into water, or shiara the love gishamim, or rain came on it, the dafka with beged chadash makbid the love, something that's it's a beged chadash that you are makbid on it. Yesh omrim the asur lina'ir beged min ha'avak sha'alav. There are those who say you cannot shake off a beged that has dirt on it, that has dust on it. A makbid alav. And it's good to be strict like what they say, to pay attention to what they say and not to shake off dust. But it's okay to remove, was hanotzot? Is that a feather?
Yeah.
Min habeged b'Shabbat. But you can remove a feather from a beged. Not necessarily, no, not necessarily. That's dandruff.
When you get feather. What about snow?
Yeah, we'll talk about snow. Now, right. What's the why is the Ramos differentiating just for a second? Why is the more differentiating between dust and feathers? What would you be mechalik? Why?
Feather doesn't stick.
Very good. Very good. Feather is a big piece that's on top of the coat, right? So I'm definitely not doing anything. I'm just taking it off. When the dust is in the coat or dust is in the beged, that's inside. So it takes a little bit more work to get it out, right? So it's more like laundry rather than just, taking off a feather. It's different.
So in a halifa, you cannot do that.
According to Ashkenazim, if you can't remove the dust, you can't do that.
You come with the rain outside.
If you're makpid and it's new and it's this and it's that. We saw the Rambam says new meaning it still appears to be new. Now, the Ramah said it's good. The Tov, the host of the Barab, it's good to listen to this opinion and not shake off dust. As the Mishnah Berurah says for Ashkenazim, it's not just good. You have to. He says, "I'm Eli Rabba, Shekasa, the Medina, Yesh Usubazek, Yiharbar Yishonim, serving Kashitas Rashi, because many Yishonim hold like Rashi that the Gemara is talking about shaking off dust. The Tov is the hair, and he says therefore, Kishabbat Shachit Shabbat. When you come to Shabbat, Shachit the Beit Medrash, Laniach Kavao v'Gedav v'Makam Shimor Kadesh Lo Yiflu La'aretz v'Yalu Avak Aleim v'Yavol Chil Shabbat. Put your hat and your coat in the right place in the shul so it doesn't fall down on the ground. And then when you come to pick it up, now you're going to start shaking it off. And you're hanging Mechayel Shabbat. So Mishra is giving you practical advice. Put your hat and your coat in a good place. All right? So it doesn't fall on the ground. Then you have to dust it off. Yeah. Yeah.
Try not to. Now it has dust on it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't take it off if you're makbid about it. If you're makbid, it's new and it's blackish. We'll see how much that actually stays in point. Ashkenazim are going to be more open to what it means new and more open to it means black. And they're going to go really with whatever you're makbid on. But we'll see in a moment. Now, before we move on, he doesn't bring here from the Yalkut Yosef. I just want to structure it to you of how it's brought down the Yalkut Yosef. These ideas, these halachot, how it's brought down the Yalkut Yosef, so we Sfaradim can have that idea of how Chamovadia brought down these halachot. So here, number one, he brings down as follows. We're on page 49, halacha 5. Listen to this. There's times when the simple act of shaking do פעמים שניר בגד בשבת מן הטל שלו חשוב כמו קיבוס ואסור לעשות כן בשבת וחייב עליו משום מלבן והיינו, when is this? The beged chodesh, when you have, and he writes here in the parentheses, has been worn several times and no longer has the same fresh new appearance. So you have wear it a few times that it no longer looks new. That's when it's considered no longer new. Okay, black. Chamovadia is understanding black, meaning black, not dark garments, not other garments that you're makbid love, but black meaning black, like the Gemara said. Okay, where he's makbid, he wouldn't wear it without shaking it off. So if the garment was newish, it was black, and I'm makbid, and I shook it off, then I'll be chayav hatat. I did the isur melabin. Okay. Likewise, he writes over here, it's permissible to shake the dew from an old black garment. Okay, an old one is okay. It has to be newish. Likewise, it's permissible to shake the dew from a black new garment if the owner would not mind wearing it even without shaking off the dew. So if I never care, right, and the dust is there, and I always wear it that way, on Shabbat I can shake it off. Because I really don't care. Even though now I do care. I can still shake it off because I usually don't care. And then he writes, some other color, red, white, or other colors, no problem. You can shake them off. And we're all talking about here is about tal. So the Yalkut Yosef understands it like the Shulchan Aruch, like Tosfot. The whole case here is about liquid on the beged, not dust. Now let's see what he says about dust. Let's see what he says about dust over here.
My result says not to wear black anyway.
Not to wear black.
On Shabbat.
So then you wouldn't have the problem. Okay, source 11. It's not in Tzurba. In the Yalkut Yosef. Look what he writes over here. If dust or soil fell onto a garment or a hat, it may be shaken off on Shabbat. Even if the garment is new, even if it's black, and even if you would refuse to wear it with dust on the dirt, it is permitted to shake it off. The Yalkut Yosef. Yalkut Yosef is learning it like a purist, like the Shulchan Aruch, like the Tosfot. The whole issue here is about liquid. If there's no liquid, you can shake it off.
Thank you.
Okay?
Liquid again, meaning it's on the beged or it's absorbed into the beged?
On the beged. Liquid on the beged.
If I'm wearing a raincoat, that's not.
Your raincoat is made out of what? Right. So we already saw, I'm going to see again, that Chachamim Tzurba and Abba Shaul understood that plastic never can get the status of beged. Plastic gets the status of keli, of wood, of metal.
Even though this raincoat, reality, it does absorb water after.
We're not going to view it as a beged. We're not viewing that vinyl or plastic raincoat. So we saw that machloket. We saw the machloket last week. The Ashkenazic poskim want to understand it as being a beged. We Sephardim should avoid those that look like real beged, like polyester and stuff like that. We should avoid squeezing them and getting any issues of malabin with them. But the plastic raincoat that obviously doesn't really look like a beged at all. I mean, you're wearing it as a beged, but it's literally plastic. So right, it's not going to be an issue at all. But let's get there. Right now, I want to read to you source 11. So we're in the middle of this over here in Yalkut Yosef. Now, we said you're allowed to shake the dust off. So I think you're allowed to shake the dust off. No problem.
Allowed to.
It's allowed to. It's all the issue. Yeah. The issue is only to shake dew or rain. Now, He brings next here. He writes even further. It's permitted to brush dust from a garment on Shabbat using a clothes brush. You're allowed to use a clothes brush, a brush especially for clothes. It's, however, he writes over here, recommended to refrain from this and to brush the dust from the garment or hat in an unusual manner, such as with a shirt sleeve. Okay? Now, this discussion applies to shaking. It's forbidden, according to all poskim, to scrub the garment. You're not allowed to scrub it.
They go like this.
That you're not allowed to do. You're allowed to go like this. But like this, you're not allowed to do. Okay?
מלבן.
What? You're allowed to go like this.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go like this. Scrubbing. Scrubbing means agitation with force.
Even if it's a dry stain?
We're talking about dust right now. We'll talk about
Just
stains
dust.
shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It says, okay to do like this.
No, this is
Just
definitely.
don't do like this.
He says, again, we'll read it. An unusual manner, such as a shirt sleeve.
Unusual. What's the unusual? With your hand is usual.
Say-
Yeah.
Abutai, you give me 2 minutes, just have to use the show team. Everyone will review this case over. I'll be right back. So, give me 1 minute.
In front of us, you know, I'm not gonna give you 30 bucks.
You tell them.
What you're doing, it's there's dust. It's
No, you never saw people who clean their hats? If you would do that.
יש טליתות שחורות אצלכם?
בטח שלא.
למה בטח?
כן. לא, מדברים פה על
One second, what are you talking
בגדים.
about? The lines?
לא,
The
הוא
lines are
מדבר...
shachor or the bigger the shachor?
בגד.
לא, הוא מדבר על בגדים. הוא אומר פה טלית, הוא מדבר איתך על
פעם אחת בחיים שלי,
בגד
תגיד
שחור.
שהגמרא אומרת זה מעיל, לא טלית.
לא מדבר פה על
פעם
טלית
אחת
שאתה לובש
ראיתי-
בבית הכנסת.
לא הטלית שזה היה שחור, אבל איך קוראים לזה? מפה, היה שחור.
פרווה.
מבפנים.
אבל זה משהו אחר, טלית,
הוא אומר כולו.
כל הטלית
לא,
בתימן
זה-
הייתה שחורה.
ממש?
ממש שחורה, הכל.
יש
תגיד לי
לך
לא.
תמונות?
לא ראיתי.
כן,
אני
אני
מלמד
ראיתי,
אותך.
אני ראיתי.
אני לא אתווכח איתך כי במציאות,
יש לך תמונות על
ההלכה היא כל בגד שיש לו 4
יש לי
תפילות.
וידאו של מישהו שבארץ,
ממש שחור שחור.
שחור שחור.
לא בעיה בזה, זה 100%.
וככה הלכו הרבה.
כן, 100%.
מה הסיבה? למה שחור?
יש להם ארונות.
למה אשכנזים
אני לא יודע מה הסיבה, אבל אני יודע
חליפה שחורה?
זה לא נכון.
אותו דבר.
שמעתי שהרב אחד אמר, רב אשכנז אחד, שאם היה ברשותו, הוא לא היה לובש שחור. יש קצת בעיה, בשבת בוודאי יש בעיה.
למה?
על פי סוד
תולדות
יש
אהרון
בעיה.
לא לובשים שחור.
על פי סוד יש בעיה. אני יודע
על מה?
על פי סוד, על קבלה יש בעיה. אני
סוד?
שמעתי-
שבת לא יכולה פתאום.
אני שמעתי שהרב מרדכי, לא, הרב יעקב מילן בירושלים, פעם אחת, עכשיו אתה רואה אותו שהוא לובש שחור, נכון? שמעתי פעם אחת, הוא היה לובש לבן, רק בשבת, ומה קרה? כל המשוגעים והאנשים שהולכים אחרי קבלה, אבל לא יודעים כלום, הם באו אצלו, ואחרי זה הוא התחיל ללבוש לא שחור ולא לבן, משהו אפור, משהו כזה.
Now again, as far as I know,
Great.
always said, not black. Dark colors, but not black.
הרמיליון
מי אמר?
With strips.
הרמיליון
Stripes.
נטוריאלי
Let me
in
see
Los
if
Angeles,
again.
I show you pictures, he doesn't have any black suits, and great, I
With
never
white
seen,
lines.
yeah, I've never seen it, I could find a picture.
תראה את האדמו"רים איזה צבעים הם לובשים.
I know
אמריקאי.
Rabbi
האדמו"רים
Yaakov
לובשים
Menashe,
צבעים יפים.
Rabbi Great Neck, Zichron Levacha, he passed away, he would always go, he used to wear very dark blue, it
בסדר,
was still not
אבל
black.
לסן, יש גם לצד זה וגם לצד זה. השחור שעושים זה בגלל שמיוחד למלכים, לנציחים, למה, למו, אז זה בשבת לומדים את זה.
כמה מלאכים,
תראה, טקסידו, לובשים טקסידו, יש טקסידו לבן לובשים או שחור?
יש גם לבן.
אני יודע, אבל בדרך כלל שחור, לא? זהו. Like dark, no.
And now we saw the second one.
Yeah, I see. Wow. So, I guarantee Taimani, there's no Taimani that wear black like that anymore.
Now they're going back.
The black?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's the way it is. You know, that,
Now they're going back,
Actually
even
goes
to the
back to-
dress.
You wanna cover?
Goes back to-
Okay, we're back. Okay, Rabotai, we're not done yet.
We are not done.
We're not done. Now,
We asked a question,
yeah.
if Talit Shora is kosher or not.
Talit shehora. You meaning a talit like a talit gadol?
Mama Talit.
He claims in Yemen, they used to wear black.
Talit gadol, like to wear?
Mhm.
It's fine, as long as the strings are black. Then Shulchan Aruch would say it's okay.
Huh?
As long as the strings are also black, right? According to the Shulchan Aruch, whatever color the beged is, that's the color the strings have to be.
color. The type, not the color.
The color as well. The color as well. If the color of the beged is one color, green, then the strings also have to be green. According to the Ramah, they always have to be white. Shulchan Aruch, they always have to be the color of the beged. Yeah, they would make the green strings, right? Sfaradim would say it like that. Put it in green, that's to be green. Okay, so yeah, so it would be. It's not done. Sfaradim usually wear white on white, and that's why we have any problems. But yeah, it's not kosher. Okay, but regardless, let's get back into the sugi over here. So we saw number one, according to Shulchan Aruch, according to Yalkut Yosef, all we're looking at is the problem if it's dew. If it's dust, you can shake it off. But you can't scrub it off. That's what we saw up until now. What about the case of the feather? So right over here in the Yalkut Yosef, it's permissible to remove feathers from the surface of a garment on Shabbat, even if the owner would refuse to wear the garment without removing them. This is not considered an act of laundering a garment, since the feathers lie on the surface of the material are not absorbed into the fabric. It's just sitting on top. In this way, this is different from the case of shaking dew from the garment, since the dew has soaked into the fabric and therefore it's forbidden to shake it off. Technically, it's permitted to use a cloth brush to brush the feathers off the garment. Nevertheless, anyone who refrains from this will get a special bracha from heaven. So here was the question that was asked at this point. It's not in the Tzurba. The question was asked, can I use a lint roller on Shabbat? They have this piece that has like tape, a sticky. Lama ze asur. 1 second. Let's think it through. What? Very good.
Yeah.
So Sion said this is the reason why they say it's awesome. They say it's Ovdin L'chol. It's a weekday activity. Because Lamaisa, 1 second. We saw no problem shaking off dust. What does he do? Takes off dust. It's not cheap shoof. I'm not scrubbing it, right? I'm just removing it, right? Most of it is surface.
No, but even though for me,
They can have from inside too.
It's not in the hole because
No, the poskim. I asked multiple poskim. And each one said it's osir, and one of them told me because of the nechol. That's the way I had. However, I did see b'shem other poskim that they say it was okay, but the poskim that we follow say that it's not okay, and a person shouldn't use it. But it's an interesting question, Lamaisa. Yeah.
No, I think it's a simple thing. You have a glue on the thing and you rub it. You're actually doing work. It's like
Okay, so you're saying it up in the chol. You're doing work of the weekday. Okay.
Nothing.
All right. So all that was on that explanation. Now comes the Biur Halacha on page 105. And the Biur Halacha wants to say, hold on. The Gemara said black. The Gemara said new. The Gemara said makbid. What's really going on over here? Why black? Someone asked. Why black? Right? Why not something else? So says the Biur Halacha in source 69. The Im Yedua Shafilu, that even if he is makbid in the different color, white and red, Gam kein darko lahakbid shlelusha b'li nior, he got aser gam sham lenoer. Lo shayir gemala elubis mistama. So says the Biur Halacha. Hold on. When the Gemara said black, That was the time. That was the beggar of the day that they were makbid on. You know, we can understand it. Black, some dirt, you have dandruff on it, you're gonna be makbid on it because it's sticking out. It's white, right? So therefore, you're makbid on it. If it says the Biur Halacha, if I'm makbid about a different color, then it should be the same dinim.
Not necessarily black.
Right, not necessarily black. That's the Biur Halacha.
Navy and black, it's very simple.
Yeah, so same too. Same thing he wants to say, right? As long as I'm makbid on it. The Gemara gave him also black because that's what people were makbid on. There could be other things too. Shemiat Shabbat Kilchata also wants to say like this. He also wants to say like this, and source 70, the second part in Chav Tes. Begadim Shargilum Lahakbid al Nikionam Hein Begadim Shechurim Oy Kehayam Keshehem Chadashim Oyim Kechadoshim. So if they're dark black or darkish, and they look new, someone be particular about them. So it depends on the particularness of the person. That's the Biur Halacha. They're looking at the Gemara again, not being black, but rather anything that people will be makbid on. So navy blue, like you wanted to say. The Yalkut Yosef, on the other hand, if you take a look on source 71, the Yalkut Yosef, he said an old garment. Yeah, we didn't go through the whole thing. Just took out the pieces that we wanted to see, which was he was saying that other clothing can also be considered, he could be makbid on. And in source 71, he writes as follows: an old garment, light colored garment, or even a new garment that one would be willing to wear without shaking, may be shaken on Shabbat to remove it. We saw this. With respect to a new garment that is dark colored, ubegid chadash. Other colors that are dark, but not black. You have what to rely on, because the issue the Gemara said was black, so the Yalkut Yosef wants to understand it as being black, not something like black. A purist understanding of the Gemara of being just black. But it's better to be makbid and machmer and not shake it off if it hasn't on that. We saw this next one. If it has dirt, that's not the problem. The only problem is the dew or the rain. Again, a purist understanding of Tosfot. The dew, it has to be melabin with liquid and not just dust. Like he says over there. And then he writes with the garment brush, it's allowed, but it's better to do it with the shinoi, like your sleeve of one shirt and the like. Okay, so that's so far what we have. We have what comes out the way the Yalkut Yosef Hamavadia wants to see this sugya is an exactly pure form of the Gemara. It has to be a new garment or newish at least, right? That everyone agrees on. It has to be black, and it has to be something that I'm makbid of, and then it's also to shake off the towel. But if it's not black, right, and it's no longer new, and I'm not makbid on it, I can shake off the dew, shake off the rain. There is no problem.
Can I do it to somebody else?
What do you mean?
This guy is dirty. Can I do that to him?
No, what's the difference?
Okay.
No, you can't do something that someone else can't do, right? Everybody knows. Can't tell a guy to do something that I can't do, so you can't. Right.
I'm not a makbid.
Which one
Can I?
Again, which one you want?
Why not? You're not allowed to shake a garment that has dew or liquid on it if it's newish. Well, it still looks newish. It's black, and it's something that I'm makbid to never wear it with something on it. Then it's a problem. When it comes to dust and the other things, we Sfaradim can take it off, but we can't scrub it off. We can use a garment brush, but better not to. You could definitely not use a lint roller. Okay. Now, comes the case of David Netanel. He said, what about the snow? What about snow? Snow. Can I shake it off or not? Is it considered liquid? Is it considered towel? And then I can't shake it off? Or is it not considered towel? So the Yalkut Yosef says it all depends when.
When?
Yeah, when you're shaking it off. Very good. Mutar l'na'er b'nahat shelek she'yarad al bigdo v'lo names, and it didn't yet melt. If it's still in the solid state of snow, then it's like the feather. It's just on the surface.
Because ice la halacha is looked at water. No, is it not?
And in what? That we're saying it's not nolad, it's not you creating something?
I would say it's considered snow is considered water.
No, but he's saying in the solid state, it doesn't absorb into the clothing. In the solid state, it's just on the surface. Okay? Even if it's new and it's black. Right? It's like a feather that's on it, you're allowed to remove it. But if it started to melt now, and now it's going into the clothing, then you're not allowed to shake it off.
So what the
Okay.
percentage of the snow that is already melted? Because you can have snow on your coat,
Yeah.
but inside it's already wet, and the outside snow. So you're not allowed to touch it.
And it's only if it's black and you're makbid on it, then you can't shake it off. So what is he telling you to do? To pretty much before you get home, when you stood out in the cold, that's when you want to knock it off, because it's still solid at that time. Outside, when you're outside in the snow and it's snowing, it's going to be solid. The issue is once you walk in and it starts to melt. So either you can do it right away, right, as soon as you walk in, because once you stay in a little bit in the doors and you have the heat, it's going to start to melt, right? Or even outside, before you walk in, you knock it off, you come in, so then you wouldn't have a problem. If I'm not knocking it off completely. Okay.
It's only if you're makbid and you're like,
And you're makbid and it's black and it's new, then that's a problem. I'll kill you. Wanted to say something?
Yeah, just to confirm, these laws apply to new black shoes?
The plan to
New black shoes.
would apply to new black shoes. What Rabotai is asking if this applies to shoes as well. If it has new black shoes. What? Right. So is the shoes considered a baggin?
No.
Why not? We saw last time you can't pour water on the shoes. If it's leather, then it's an issue. You can pour the water, but you can't still scrub it because leather has. Yeah, but plastic is different than leather. Leather, we saw it's still a material that's still the water can go in. If you put a lot of water, it's going to go into it. Okay, it's the surface water won't go into it, so you can pour water, but you can't scrub it.
because that's what it's for, to protect your feet.
I would understand it as being the same thing with shoes, because later we're going to see an issue with removing mud from the shoes, right? Because that's where you commonly have mud. The issue's there. So, but I don't think anyone's makbid on his. I mean, I guess if it's the first time you're wearing your shoes, you might be makbid, right? But I don't think it goes by the wearing of one time. It's a good question. I would say it does. I would say it's the same applies to shoes as it does to the clothing.
And so when it says liquids, it's any liquid or just watery liquid? Can it be oil liquid? Can it be other types of liquid?
So that's their cloud when it comes to laundry. We said that it has to be a liquid that is clear. That is what's it called? It's liquid that would be making laundry, right? If you put disgusting water, you're not doing laundry. It can't be considered laundry at that point, right? It's derech lichloch. It's getting it ruined.
That's one of the reasons you get waterproof shoes, or you put shoes to begin with, is to protect your feet.
To protect your feet. I hear you.
Get wet,
You're right. You're not makbid. Most shoes, and most times you're not makbid. And most shoes are not new. Okay, fine. It's a good question. If to stay the status, I would say the status of shoes is just like one of your begotten. It's a baggage. When I say it's a baggage, that goes on a person. Okay.
So the first time you shouldn't be cleaning, but the second time it's cleaning.
Yeah. You be careful. Don't wear your new shoes in the snow. Okay.
Shaking of the same thing, blowing. You can see, walk outside, it's light rain. You want to blow the rain off your hat.
Shaking off like blowing. You're blowing. I think blowing would be a shino. No.
How would you blow it?
You don't usually.
The rain floats like I don't see.
Tzarchin on the blowing. Tzarchin on the shoes. Tzarchin. We'll come back to it. Okay. Now, we want to just mention about what we said about the plastic raincoat and stuff like this. Okay. Listen to the Yalkut Yosef outside the Tzurba. If the garment is made of nylon or other synthetic material and does not contain any natural fibers. You hear, David? Okay, I'll say it again. If it's made of nylon or synthetic material and does not contain any natural fibers, rain or snow may be shaken from it even vigorously. For example, a vinyl raincoat that is all wet from the rain may be shaken up vigorously on Shabbat to remove the water from it. Since the water is not absorbed into it, there's no issue of squeezing out water. Okay? And to say even further, Cham Ben Tzil and Abba Shaul understood plastic, right, nylon, to be a keli and not a beged. And therefore, it never has an issue of water when it comes to it.
Whether it's an absorbent plastic, not absorbent, like let's say,
The Yaakov Yosef seems to be making that.
For example, this plastic here, there's no question you shake water off of it,
Don't absorb it.
This is not absorbent. The top here is not absorbent. Yeah, so that's not a problem. Yeah, it's no problem.
Like let's say a raincoat, let's say it's made out of polyester, but it would still sometimes absorb the water.
Raincoats that absorb the water is not doing its job as a raincoat. Raincoats are not meant to absorb. It's supposed to knock off. Right? You're talking about other synthetic material. The guy's wearing a polyester, 100% polyester sweater. So there is no machloket. How do you view that? But we should view it mechazeh like a beged, so mechazeh like everything else.
Synthetic coats, they have it's called DWR. It's like a coating, chemical coating you put on top that.
Hold on, that's a good question.
It's like a temporary water repellent thing.
On what is it?
The underlying nylon or polyester can absorb.
Is that like that Shabbos tablecloth that's material, but the water doesn't go into it, and it keeps?
It beads off, but that coating could wear off on it.
It's
But there's stuff that you have to like put.
Let's talk about the norm. Let's talk about the norm.
That is a norm.
Well, no. What about this? Let me have a question. What about the Shabbos tablecloth that they sell? That it's material. It's a material, but you put water on it. It doesn't go into the water. It doesn't go into the material. It keeps you pick it up and it runs to it. Yeah, but it's not plastic.
It could be that has a DWR, but that eventually could wear out.
It will go in. It will go in eventually.
That might not be like that. Might start absorbing them.
So we're saying here the issue is with the dew on the coat is that it's being absorbed, and that's what we're saying you're not allowed to shake off, right? That's what the Yaakov Yosef said. So if you're telling me that the beged itself, even if it's made out of material, but it's not absorbent because it has this chemical,
It has that coating.
I don't see it being a problem because he's saying the whole problem is when it's going to be absorbed and then you're shaking it out.
That coating, you don't know when it's going to start wearing off.
So then you would have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be careful. Okay, well, Maisa, this was all about the first topic, which was shaking off dust or shaking off water. Now we're going to be talking about removing dirt from fabrics without liquid. So I do have dirt on it. I have a dirt. No, Makil, this was your question. We had dirt on the liquid. We had dirt on the fabric. And now I want to take it off. Nail underneath. How do I do it? What's going on? So this is a Gemara. This is all based on the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. Kuf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph. Okay, let me just bring it out over here. Okay. Here we have Amar Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana said, Tit Sha'al Gabe Bigdo. Clay, which is on one's garment. So clay is mud. Mud is on one's garment. Mechas keso mi bifnim ve'en mechas keso mi bachutz. One may rub the garment from inside, but he may not rub it from outside. Okay, what does that mean? Someone show me.
Like this.
Okay, so he goes inside and he rubs it. He's not rubbing it out here. Not like this. Okay, not like this from out here and back like this, but rather going from inside and going like that.
I think what it's trying to say. Let me give you.
Why is that? Okay, why is that?
I'm trying to give you the situation. Like, let's say you have a piece of toothpaste on.
Yeah.
Right. You go like this, it might get absorbed more into the garment, or from you push it, you try
to push it out
outside. It's not the derech, I think. It's not the derech. No one does it like that.
So from what I understood it, it's not obvious that he's rubbing it to clean it, as this does not resemble laundry. When they're doing laundry, when you do laundry, you take outside the other point and you rub it down, right? When you're going from the inside, that's not the way to do laundry. So it's right. So therefore, that's not the malacha of milaben, and that would be permissible if you have a stain on you like that. Meitve, they asked the question, Tichal gabe mena'alo. So here you go. You have clay which is on one shoe. Megorro begav sakin. He may scrape it off with the back of a knife. Megarro vegav sakin. That's resh. V'sha'al bigdo, and if it's on his garment, megorro ve'tziporin. He can scratch it off with a fingernail. Right? Take the fingernail and he scratches it off. Uvilvad shelo yechaskes. But it's as long as he doesn't rub it. So this braita says you can't rub it. So how are you telling me to rub it from the inside? My lav shelo yechaskes kilal, that you cannot rub it at all. So why are you telling me how you can rub it from the inside? He says, no, when it says there you can't do yechaskes, you can't rub it, that means shelo yechaskes mibachutz, ela mibifnim, but rather you can rub it from the inside. Okay? So that is that Gemara. The Gemara here says you have a stain on it, you can rub it from the inside, not from the outside. From the outside looks like milabein. Now, what's the issue over here? The issue over here is we had a Bahag. We had the Rabbeinu Chanan on Bahag earlier when I told we're going to skip it for now. He said over here that if you have a davar tinuf, you have something dirty on it. He said you can't shake it off. So how over here you tell me you're allowed to rub it off? According to the Rabbeinu Chanan and the Bahag, you're not allowed to shake it off. So if you can't shake it off, you can't rub it off. So how the Gemara is saying, according to them, how do you understand this? Shulchan Aruch, let's take a look at Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch understands the Gemara as is, and he says, source 74, page 108. You have clay on a beged. You rub it from inside, right? Because it's not laundry like that way. But from without, when you do it mechutz, then it looks like milabin. But you can also you can also scratch it off with your fingernail because that's also not milabin. The scratching from right here.
Oh, from the outside.
Yeah, scratching the nail from the front. It's only rubbing it.
What's from the inside?
From the inside, rubbing it like this.
Rub it from the inside.
That's exactly it. You do it like that. You rub it from inside like this, and not out.
What's the difference?
Oh, because one looks like milabin and one doesn't. When you do laundry and you want to get out a stain, you take it to each other, the two sides, and you rub it out.
And if you do it from the inside?
It's not looking like milabin. Tashina, it's not looking like milabin. Okay? See over here. 65. No, cannot be. Okay. So, now we have as follows. The Bir Halacha wants to say, perhaps there's a chilik between what the Bahag and the Rabbeinu Chananel said and what this Gemara is talking about. That perhaps over here, this Gemara says that you're allowed to rub it, talking about it's not a new garment, it's not black, and a person's not makbid on it. So that's why you're allowed to rub it. In the case of the Bahag saying you're not allowed to take off the dirt, that's when it's a black garment, it's new, and you're makbid on it. That's why that's the difference. But then, says the Bir Halacha, Inami v'hu ha'ikar, and this is the most important. He says that when you scrape away mud, which is upon a garment, you don't ein ma'aver haketem legamre. You don't get rid of the ketem, the stain, completely. Right? When you scrape it off, what happens? It still leaves a stain afterwards. That's permissible.
You need water.
Because the stain's still there. So you're allowed to take off the dirt that's on top. But with a case where the Rabbeinu Chanan al-Bahag said you cannot take it off, that's when it completely removes the entire stain. That's like milabin.
Take the residue.
Right. If you take,
When children goes on, you can take off the.
you can take off the bean and the rice or whatever the meat that's on it. That's not a problem because it's going to remain the stain on the shirt. That's what they want to say over here. That's what the Bir Halacha wants to say. And he writes, look, this is not true regarding flaxseed or food, which has dried upon one's clothing. Regarding Shabbat holds that by peeling it, the mark is also removed. Therefore, it will be permitted only in the manner in which shaking a cloak is permitted, when it's not new on the person and he's not makbid on it. So that's what the Bir Halacha wants to say. Bir Halacha wants to say, when it comes to stains, not all stains are the same. All right? If it's a stain that the entire stain comes off when you take it off, then you're not allowed to do that on Shabbat if you're makbid on it. The only way to do it is to shake it off and not makbid. But if it's a stain that's going to be staying on there, I can take off the top part of it and the stain will remain. That's not a problem. Then he wants to bring, in the Tzurba, he wants to bring in source 76 that some say that you can't just take it off because it's going to be considered grinding. You're turning it into small pieces. Okay? But we already said there is no teichen achar teichen, right? So we're going to get away with it like that. Let's take a look at the Yalkut Yosef outside on these two halachot. So here he writes in 14b over here, if a bit of cooked food, so some cholent, some chamim, some whatever fell on a person, flax seeds, watermelon pits, or something similar became stuck to a garment, it's permissible to peel them off on Shabbat. You have food on you, stain, some food got stuck to your shirt, you're allowed to peel it off on Shabbat. This is so, even if the garment is new and black, and you wouldn't wear it if it had the dirt on it. Because Shulchan Aruch ruled that it's permissible to shake off dust, says the Yalkut Yosef, and these acts and these items are considered like dust. Now, in the footnote, Rabbi Yisrael Bitan brings that, interestingly enough, in the Halichot Olam of Maran Shalom Tzion, he actually said you're not allowed to take these things, you're not allowed to peel them off. Rabbi Tzak Yosef says you're allowed to. Chacham Ovadia said you're not allowed to. So Rabbi Yisrael Bitan here wants to say that perhaps they're arguing in how much has this food gotten into the clothes. If it's been absorbed into the clothes, it might be a different issue, right? If it's because he's saying here it's like dust, like there's dirt on it, it's considered dust. You're allowed to take it off, right? It's not black, it's not new, it's okay. Or he's saying it's just like the feather. So it really depends how you view it. It depends how you view it. But here you have the Yalkut Yosef, and he writes clearly, even if it's new, even if it's black, if you have food dirt, food particles on it, you're allowed to peel it off on Shabbat. That's the halacha l'maaseh from the Yalkut Yosef. You're allowed to peel off food items from your shirt on Shabbat. The next halacha he brings over here, what about the mud? So we mentioned the mud. Let's take a look at the halacha of the mud. And the Tzurba, we're on page 109.
You are allowed to put in it's nothing gonna be.
You're right. If a bit of cooked food, flax, watermelon pits, or something similar became stuck to the garment, permissible to peel them off on Shabbat, even if it's new, even if it's black, and even if you refuse to wear it with the dirt on it. It's not considered anything. He sees it as shaking off dust off a garment, which we hold Sfaradim you're allowed to do. Right? It's the same thing. Yeah. Right? That's what he says over here. Now, mud or clay splattered onto someone's garment. He will remove the mud by grasping the fabric on the opposite side and rubbing it onto itself. It's forbidden to rub the garment against itself on the stained side, since that resembles the act of laundering. It's permissible to scrape up the mud with one's fingernail, even from the outside of the fabric. The methods described here may be even used if the mud has dried. We're not going to say it's going to be teichen now, grinding, right? You don't want to grind it, and it's already been. You can consider it grinded before it came, so there's no teichen acher teichen. Okay, he writes it's forbidden to clean up the mud by rubbing the garment from the outside. Then he says it's better to ask a guy to do it, and that's what he comes out with over here. So he comes out over here that the chilik is between mud and other stains, right? If it's fruit stains, we're looking at it as dust, and you can peel it off. When it comes to mud, that's what the Gemara said. The Gemara's lashon was the tit. We have the clay on the beged. Then you would have to either rub it from the inside. When it comes to food particles, says the Yalkut Yosef, we're going to say it's like dust, and a person could simply knock it off, peel it off, shake it off, and it's not an issue. It's not an issue at all. Okay, let's just see if there's anything else you want to bring out here. If you want to see what it looks like a garment with a stain on page 111, you have a picture. Shmiyat Shabbat Kilchata goes into different scenarios if the dirt is going to be wet, if the dirt's going to be dry, and stuff like that. But we saw based on the Yalkut Yosef how we would view these scenarios and what to do in those cases. To absorb the oil, and what happens to the stain? The stain remains. Right, so then it can be considered an act of laundry.
Put salt.
Why? What does it do?
Suck the dirt.
And then what happens to the stain? What happens to the stain? The stain remains or the stain goes away?
You have some kind of.
We have minyan for Kaddish.
And you put salt on it, it's stuck with dirt. You leave it for.
If it,
Yeah.
man.